Okay, just a summary of the inspection. Just completed the inspection and back in the van. It's a terrace house. Certainly needs a bit of work. What is of main concern to me is that the upper level flooring to the second bedroom appears to have termite damage, and I do have a concern that that follows through to the front bedroom as well. And that flooring of the upper level, you never know the true condition of those timbers, because you can't see from the underside and you can't see where it is under the carpeted flooring. Chimney detail in the roof void needs repair because there are loose bricks in that instance, and I can't get in to the subfloor area to check the subfloor area. A lot of information in the video. Take it all in, and any questions, get back to me and ask me those questions. Property to be inspected is a double-storey terrace dwelling facing due west for the purpose of the report. Corrugated metal gable roof detail. The roofing is rusted, and it would be prudent to consider a replacement of the roofing also. When the roofing was installed, it was done pretty rough, and the roofing is a little bit high for the guttering detail at the front, so that also should be attended to. Now, you've got these masonry hobs above the roof line. Those commonly do get cracks in them, and you do need to apply a waterproofing type paint to them to prevent falling damp as such. It is pretty common in these types of buildings. Chimney detail generally appears to be okay. The cowls on the top, antenna fitted to the top, obviously could do with redecoration and some preparation prior to that sort of redecoration. Balcony detail to the upper level generally appears to be serviceable when viewed from this distance. Sandstone foundations, the front porch, we do see that the step has sunken, and there has been a bit of movement to that detail over time. The walls to the northern side of the front porch detail is certainly evidence of falling damp through that wall and the associated efflorescence. There is damp getting into that masonry, and ideally painting of the details may reduce that damp, but where it evaporates from the masonry, you do get that sort of bubbling of the paint and delamination. To the southern side generally appears to be a reasonable detail. Underside of the decking, we see the joists, the original joists have had a little bit of weathering and decay. The boards themselves appear to have been replaced in the not too distant past. This terrace doesn't have gas as opposed to the adjoining terraces, so certainly gas in the street, but no gas connected in this instance. Wrought iron front balustrade to the front porch. You get the corrosion at the base of the metal sections. Worthwhile getting that painted up to try and prolong that durability, the durability of that detail as best as possible. Front porch detail, sort of sandstone sections. There is a bit of settlement, quite common for termites to be attracted to a front porch detail, and quite often in these buildings that settlement is associated to a history of termites as such. Electrical board fitted to the front of the property, just ceramic fuses, no safety switch fitted. Really worthwhile getting a safety switch fitted. Under $500 normally to get a safety switch fitted by an electrician. There is no sign indicating any previous termite treatment to the property. Had a termite treatment being carried out to the property, there should have been a durable sign indicating what was done, when was done, and by whom located this electrical meter board. Interior of the dwelling, it's vacant possession at this stage. We do have a rising damp to the base of the walls, and the damp course needs to be replaced. General rule of thumb, about $175 per lineal metre normally to get damp course installed. With the walls, we do have cracks indicating differential movement. A lot of those cracks have been patched in the past, very common in these buildings, and you do get the drummy render around those areas of those cracks where they've occurred. Some preparation is going to be needed prior to future redecoration. Timber vertical sliding window at the front is in good order. Sash cords are fine, no issues with that window. Very important to keep the timbers properly sealed, particularly the joints, so you don't get moisture egress wicking into the grain of the timber and the like. Entry door appears to be fine, no major issues there, and you do get cracks to the cornices due to differential movement of the upper level flooring. Again, preparation prior to future redecoration will check the stability of those floors. There is two fireplace details to this lower level. With the fireplaces, generally not commonly used in this day and age. Chimneys would need to be swept prior to use. Blockages could cause a house fire if you do choose to go back to those sorts of fireplaces. The plinth or the base of a fireplace always susceptible to termites. Termites quite often attracted to such a detail, and the condition of the interior of the chimney obviously can't be determined. You do get a little bit of condensate build up, and those areas are also susceptible to the likes of termites generally. Base of the internal stair has a void. With that void, it's an inaccessible void, certainly an area where potentially faults can go undetected. Always a good idea to get a vent in that area. With the stairs, a bit of differential movement has been occurring, and we get that separation between the masonry and the timber sections. Lower level flooring is a timber floor. It generally appears to be nice and sturdy under the carpets. No access can be gained under that floor detail. In towards the eastern side of this lounge dining area, again a lot of rising damp has been occurring, or penetrating damp coming through from a bathroom detail, and certainly repairs to those details are necessary. Also, the skirting board has evidence of advanced decay. From what we can see, it does appear to be decay. Always a possibility that that sort of decay has attracted termites and then since decayed, but in this case all appears to be cubic rot in this particular instance. Kitchen detail, tiled flooring, concrete slab on ground. In this instance, where we've got the carpets, it's a timber floor, to the rear, concrete slab on ground. Kitchen's got a granite bench top, electric stove, oven under the stove, non-ducted range hood, stainless steel sink and dishwasher under the bench top. With the sink, the mixer tap is certainly okay, no water hammer observed, water flows fine. Just this cover plate over the plumbing pipes is broken, and not an easy thing to find a replacement part in that type of instance. The interface of the kitchen benchtop and the tiled splashback, you really need to reseal that. Very important. What we worry about is moisture running down the rear of the kitchen cupboards, and that moisture then having the potential to attract the likes of termites. Timber window appears to be fine, no major issues, it just needs to be eased and adjusted. It does catch, and again very important to get all those timber sections well painted up so you don't get the moisture into the timbers, swelling and associated deterioration. Range hood certainly functional, no issues there, and also the hot plates are in working order. Overall, the kitchen appears to be fine. Once again, there is rising damp to the base of the walls, and we get a lot of penetrating damp coming in through the bathroom. And where the moisture evaporates from the wall, that's where you get that crystallization of the saline salts and the bubbling of the paint. So this whole detail all the way around the bathroom back into the dining room, all that damaged render is full of salt, and that render would need to be fully replaced.
Kitchen generally, kickboards have absorbed moisture over the years, swollen and deteriorated. You can easily replace those. The kitchen generally appears to be serviceable. Shelving under the kitchen sink obviously gets exposed to a fair bit of moisture, and you can see where that moisture's been dropping down the rear cavity. It really needs a new bottom plate. Backboard also should be replaced in this instance. Door to the rear exterior, really an internal door that has been used for the exterior. They didn't paint the bottom of the door, so you get the swelling and delamination of the veneer. Really, that door may eventually need to be replaced. See, the tops of the door also haven't been painted, so that wasn't a weather-tight type detail. Also the timber frame, where the moisture's wicked into the base of the timber frame, you get the decay at the base of those frame details. With the glazing of the door, the glazing more than likely a anneal glass. Anneal glass can break into shards. Shards can cause lacerations, so if you ever do need to replace with the likes of safety glass. Lower bathroom detail contains the bath with the shower rose over the top of the bath, the toilet, and a sink detail. Tiled flooring, visible floor waste. Water, a bit of water hammer to the hot water line. A plumber can fit a pressure equaliser valve to the water line for under $500 to try and minimise that sort of hammer. Toilet, stable, functional, water flows fine, no cracks to the porcelain, no leaks to the plumbing. Bath detail, we've already established that we've got a lot of moisture penetration to the surrounding areas, so that all needs to be resealed and sealed properly, so to prevent that moisture penetration to the surrounding areas. Too deep with the shower screen to get in and actually test the shower rose without getting completely wet, so I'm not going to test that at this stage. With the bath, there are no vents to the side of the bath. I do like to see vents to the side of the bath simply because when you fill the bath with water, you are naturally going to get condensate to the exterior of the bath, and vents allow for that condensate to air off. The other issue we get with the bath is where the bath is filled with water, you get expansion of the rim of the bath, and that eventually breaks the seal between the bath and the surrounding tiles. Once that seal breaks, what we worry about is moisture dropping down the rear areas, that moisture then penetrating through to the walls and having the potential to attract the likes of termites. So really important in any bath, in any building, is to reseal the surrounds of the bath periodically. Door frame, a bit of moisture damage to the base of the door frame, and the door is certainly functional, but again, worthwhile painting the base of the door. We see a little bit of swelling to that door detail. Bit of a vanity unit, an edge detail, obviously been exposed to humidity and the like over the years. The southern wall, fair bit of penetrating damp coming in through that wall, and once again all that render is just logged with moisture and needs to be repaired in an appropriate manner. The source of the moisture would be falling damp from the roof detail above. Electrical switch within the bathroom just is broken and needs to be repaired in an appropriate manner. The light switch is no longer activating those lights, so whether there's a wiring problem also needs to be checked by an electrician, and we've got a cracked tile. It might be difficult to source a similar tile for repair. Looking at the bathroom detail thermally, certainly getting some thermal inconsistencies around the bath, so we know that we've got all that moisture penetration. A wall, again, moisture penetration certainly appears to be ongoing through those ceiling details. They are raked ceilings. With raked ceilings, no bodily access can be gained into a roof void, so plenty of potential for faults to go undetected. When repairing the damp to the walls, ceilings will also need future attention. This bathroom has no extraction fan, so any humidity created by the bathroom activities can't be extracted to the exterior of the building. Always prudent to consider an extraction fan to such a bathroom detail. Looking at the areas of the kitchen, once again, thermal inconsistencies where we get that penetrating damp coming through. Looking at those hot plates, they're all in working order. Dining room detail generally appears to be okay. Once again, rising damp to the base of the internal walls, and that will need future attention. We do have a thermal inconsistency coming in from to the ceiling just over the entry door, and that is a bit of a concern. What is causing that can't be readily determined, and those timbers in that area are totally concealed. So certainly an area where some a history of a decay or moisture may exist. Smoke alarm has been removed from its bracket. Certainly worthwhile getting an appropriate smoke alarm fitted. Internal stair detail, closed tread internal stair, timber balustrade. The detail is what it is. Timber stairs have been worn, and you can see those deflections in the treads under the carpet detail. Upper level western bedroom or front bedroom. Carpeted floor coverings. The flooring under the carpets is certainly uneven, and we have areas where we've got that creaking floor, particularly where we saw those thermal inconsistencies from below. As we come towards the door detail, certainly uneven and soft flooring in that area. Once you lift the carpets, you may find that some of those floor details will need repair. Once again, a fireplace. Again, within a bedroom detail, open fire flame heaters are illegal or should not be used because of the depletion of oxygen as such. Ceilings appear to be quite okay. Walls reasonable for what they are. Timber window, vertical sliding sash cords appear to be fine. A little bit of cracked glazing in this instance. Reglazing of those details necessary as part of general ongoing maintenance. Doors out to the front balcony, glazed doors. Once again, annealed glass. Annealed glass can break into shards. Shards can cause lacerations. Any replacement, consider safety glass such as laminated or toughened. Door frames, just a bit of preparation prior to decoration. The doors themselves in working order. Hardware, always in these aged buildings, may need some attention. Looking at the detail thermally, looks to be okay. No major issues in this particular detail. Always a concern of a bit of penetrating damp occurring that can come down through those hobs from above, and we get that slightly higher than normal moisture reading in the walls of terraces. Very, very common. So the timber deck balcony to the western side, the boards have been replaced. Render has been getting moisture in it, and repairs to the render are necessary. Timber beam coming under this metal roofing, certainly decay to the top of the beam where condensate forms to the underside of the roofing, drizzles down onto the top of the timber and creates that decay. So very important to get those the tops of those timbers really well painted. You can see the corrosion in the roofing, and that's pretty consistent right up through that roofing. So obviously it would be nice to budget for replacement of roofing on this type of terrace. It's sort of between the $16,000–$20,000 mark to get the pitched roofing replaced as such. Various cracks to the masonry that have been repaired in the past, and once again cracks start to reappear. Very common, need to be monitored by an appropriate professional over time, and repairs from time to time do prove necessary. There is an interface between the adjoining dwelling and the existing dwelling, and always potential for moisture just to get into those joints. It is inevitable. It's just the type of detail it is. With the guttering, it is a shared gutter, and the downpipe is on the adjoining terrace. Very important to keep those front gutters properly clean so you don't get overflowing of moisture to the back side of the guttering as such. Second bedroom, carpeted flooring. This is a walk-through bedroom, so you come to the top of the stair, you got to walk through the bedroom to get out to the rear hallway and bedroom. Flooring does have a bit of flex in it. That is a concern in these upper level floors, that quite possibly that floor has been exposed to the likes of termites in the past, and that flooring therefore gets that little bit of bounce or flex in the flooring itself. Walls generally appear to be okay what they are. Again, you do get the penetrating damp coming through, and unfortunately that is these solid brick walls are quite common, and generally observed in these types of terrace buildings. So in the skirtings, evidence of some past termite damage. We've got those hollows in the timbers, indicative of where that termite damage has occurred in the past, and certainly got the fluting of timbers. So my suspicions, that just confirms my suspicions that the floor framing in this area would have some degree of termite damage. Over the top of the stair, they've got this storage area, really handy, a nice big area for storage of goods. Rear bedroom, obviously an add-on, carpeted flooring again. This is over the top of the kitchen. The floor appears to be nice and sturdy. Do get penetrating damp around window details, and with the window detail we've got cracked glazing, and replacement of that glazing is necessary. Timber window over the rear roofing generally appears to be okay. Again, you get the decay and the weathering of those timbers along the joints, and that all needs to be painted up, and the windows do need to be eased and adjusted. Once again, crack glazing to that particular detail. Raked ceiling detail, a fair bit of sagging to the ceiling, and condensate to the underside of the roofing, as we saw out the front, would be occurring in this detail as well, and contributing to that sort of sagging of the ceiling materials over the years. Now, because this is an addition, you do get that differential movement and the cracks to masonry that have been occurring. More than likely that differential movement will continue. Once you patch those cracks, they more than likely will reappear. The only way to really try and minimise that is actually to express a joint and then put a cover plate over the top and allow for the building's movement as such. So looking at the areas thermally, looking at the ceilings, certainly see that the evidence of where that moisture is drizzling down onto that lower wall detail. A bit of a balcony detail to the rear or eastern side of the dwelling, or eastern side of the upper level. This flooring is a timber floor and has been waterproofed over the top. Waterproofing has lifted along the edges, plenty of scope for moisture to get in under that waterproofing and cause decay to concealed timbers. So reapplication of waterproofing and appropriate repairs are necessary. The balustrade has certainly a lot of damage where decay has occurred to those timbers, where the moisture's always got into the splits. You get that advanced decay occurring. These sorts of splits on the top are just going to decay out eventually. So, that's the importance of proper maintenance and proper painting, is to prolong those sorts of details. Metal roofing over the rear door detail, again, depends on a lot of waterproofing membrane. They are sort of sealants that have been used. Those sealants eventually dry out. Once they dry out, they crack, and water penetration can occur once again. Guttering has some leaf guards. Leaf guards are great at keeping leaves out of the gutters, but silt buildup still occurs, and the gutters do need to be cleaned up. Corrugated metal roofing to the rear doesn't look to be too bad. It's certainly still got a little bit of durability in it. Hard with the sun. The flashing along the eastern side is corroded and needs to be replaced. So, in this case, you probably get away with keeping those roofs, this roof detail, for a bit longer. Just these rusted screws and things like that, just paint them up. Lead flashings, because of contraction and expansion, they will get tears in them, and they do need attention from time to time. Quite a good spreader detail to this downpipe from the rear gutter detail. Gutters contain a lot of silt. That silt contributes to blockages and overflowing of gutters. Really important to keep the gutters nice and clean as part of general ongoing maintenance. So the roofing detail at the rear, we see around the chimney, as I said, that may need some future attention and aged roofing as such. With the hobs, you can clearly see those cracks in the hob, and that contributes to falling damp through those walls. External walls, because they are Edwardian brickwork per se, they are a solid brick wall, and very important to paint them with a paint that's got a waterproofing type membrane to it. Timber posts attached to the exterior, just a detail where moisture eventually is going to get in. Try and eliminate that type of detail wherever possible. The exterior of the adjoining building, they've done a nice render job on that. So at least that's a nice tidy detail. Coming out into the rear yard, it's a really rough render against the rear exterior. Sort of said that top flashing really needs to be replaced. The surrounds of the window, a bit of a tidy up. So with the backyard detail, we've got this paved area, the rear lane access, and then the drop down towards the rear door. There is a gated drain next to the rear door in that lower section. Very important to keep those drains clear at all times, so you don't get flooding of the surrounding areas should those drains block. Bit of penetrating damp to the walls, inevitable in these details. Try and seal them up as best as possible. Paving, a little bit of settlement, they are only bricks over a subgrade in this instance. Retaining walls, evidence of penetrating damp, so no damp course on the rear side of those retaining walls. That sort of moisture will keep evaporating from the retaining walls. The steps out to the rear lane, rotational movement, some of those details may need some degree of reconstruction, unfortunately. With the trees, always prudent to have them test drilled for the presence of termites and treated accordingly. Timber paling fence to the rear, certainly a fair bit of decay, particularly where the palings absorb moisture from the ground, and where the railings and the palings meet, water sits in there and you get that decay occurring, and once the decay occurs they become a lot more susceptible to termites. Attached structure to the rear is the laundry, brick walls, single skin brick walls, always prudent just to seal around the penetrations and the like so you don't get moisture egress through those areas. The drain from the pressure relief valve of the hot water unit just drains against the exterior of the dwelling. That is favourable for the likes of termites, worthwhile extending that with a bit of garden hose across to the stormwater dispersal system as such. Door of the laundry, decayed, that door eventually needs to be replaced. Door frame, a bit of decay to the base of the door frame, and repairs are needed there as well. Tiled flooring, concrete slab on ground to the laundry, and no visible floor waste or floor drain. Tub appears to be okay, water flows good, and no water hammer observed. Hot water unit located in this laundry, 80 litre storage capacity. And it looks like 2001 is the date of manufacture. I can't make that out accurately. Plumbing provided for a washing machine. Again, rising damp or penetrating damp occurring through the rear wall where it is retaining soils. That needs attention. And the timber window is painted in, and it needs to be eased and adjusted so that can be opened up in an appropriate manner. Once again, penetrating damp occurring. It is what it is. Rake ceiling, no accessible roof void in this instance. Looking thermally at the details, hot water's all working, and that's okay. Ceilings, nothing overly major. Again, just evidence of that condensate coming down the walls and the rising damp to the base of the walls, or the penetrating damp as such. property has rear lane access, a lot of plant overgrowth against the timber fencing, so certainly termites could go undetected, but the fence has decay to it anyhow. Localised repairs are considered necessary. Bit of a better look at the roofing detail to the rear. Yeah, it is a bit rough. The joints aren't ideal, and the ridge capping certainly corroded. You could get away with just replacing the front section, but it would be prudent just to get it all replaced with a new colour bond. Once you put a new lid on it, you really put that one to bed for many years. Laneway detail itself generally appears to be quite okay. Looks as though they've put a gate right up the end to sort of get security for all the people down this laneway detail, so you know, that could be a nice thing. Just the gate to the rear laneway needs to be eased and adjusted, and the post, you know, decay where it's been getting that moisture into the base of the post. The post has really lost its structure as such, so repairs are necessary, and again you get all that decay occurring to those palings. So just at the top of the stair we've got our access opening into the roof void, and there is a smoke alarm fitted to this top level. Located up in the roof void now, there is no thermal insulation over the ceiling linings. Something to consider is installing thermal insulation for its thermal value. A lot of accumulated dust in the area. Always a good idea, a roof void, is to vacuum it out once a decade or so. It just makes for healthier living as such. The walls we can see are a lath and plaster type wall. Ceilings to the upper level actually have been replaced with newer gypsum plasterboard, so they've been stripped out at some point in the past, but a lot of the walls have retained that lath and plaster. History of termites is observed. Collar ties generally appear to be okay. Underside of corrugated metal roofing, once again you see that you get that condensate to the underside of the roofing, contributes to a fair degree of decay and deterioration of the roofing materials themselves and the rust, and hence the recommendation to consider replacement in the future. A couple of the rafters just split, but lightweight roof, that's not a big deal. The chimney, the western side of the chimney, so the chimney's got two sides. The western side is completely collapsed, and those loose bricks can go through the ceiling and are considered dangerous. That actually needs a repair, and that repair is considered fairly urgent, as certainly those fireplaces are no longer serviceable. The other chimney, also you're getting a lot of erosion of the mortar, and that's also going to eventually collapse in the same manner and needs to be repaired. Bit of a difficult detail to deal with. So looking at the roofing, we've got a bit of a hole in the roof that needs a repair, and yeah, overall the roof frame generally appears to be reasonable. No major issues, even though there has been a bit of a history of termites. Okay, you've viewed the video now, and just as a summary, yeah, the terrace is a terrace in the inner city. It's quite typical for those terraces to have a history of termites, to have issues with damp, and often the roofing has aged, and it would be prudent to consider replacement. So that's pretty common in all these dwellings. In this instance, obviously I've observed that termite damage, so there is the history of termites. The extent of the termite damage we can't fully determine, but you know, it does appear that the mid-level flooring has been affected. The bathroom has moisture penetration to the surrounding areas, so that bathroom certainly will need future attention. The chimney detail has the loose bricks that could come through the ceiling. There's a real danger there, and that needs to be repaired in an appropriate manner and should be done sooner than later. And the corrugated metal roofing is an aged detail with rust to the roofing material. always prudent to consider replacing it, and that will give you many years of peace and quiet with regard to the roofing at least. There's also the other issues with the external timbers that are decayed, and the doors that need to be repaired, cracked glazing and the like. They all need attention. Looking in the overall context of it, and for the building that it is, you know, she's about the average of what they are. That's the circumstance. They're certainly not like new buildings in this state, in this sort of age detail. Moisture always has to be your main priority, so if you can resolve the moisture issues, you go a big way to improving the property. It's moisture that commonly will cause decay. It's moisture that attracts termites. It's moisture that contributes to deterioration of various building elements and building materials. So if you can resolve the moisture issues, obviously you go a long way to improving the property overall. Termites, normally a history of termites does not concern me. In this instance, because I get that flex in the second bedroom, I do get more concerned about it, and you know, from a builder's point of view, I've got to recommend that you do consider further investigation and repair work accordingly. In most cases, it really means that you've got to drop the ceiling to be able to really get an assessment of that upper level flooring. Where we find termite activity, yeah, that can actually be a bit of a blessing in disguise. None was found in this instance, but the reason being is that that actually necessitates a treatment, and yeah, that's got its benefits. With what I get most concerned about is areas conducive to termites or susceptible to termites. Lack of access into the subfloor area, timbers in direct contact with the ground, areas where you got the moisture up against the timbers and the timbers decaying. Those are all areas susceptible to termites, and those are the real high risk type detail, because that's where termite activity can go undetected for quite some time. Nobody knows about it, and it can cause a considerable problem. So if you can resolve any of those areas that are susceptible or conducive to termites, obviously you're going and reducing the overall risk. So you've got to take it all in context of what it is, and you know, at the end of the day, repairs to buildings come down to dollars and cents. And you need a lot of common sense in property ownership and property maintenance, and it's just the way it is. With the video, it's great in the sense that you can review and have a look at details again and again. Also, you can share the video with multiple people and get you know, their spin on it. Particularly family and friends, always nice to get their feedback as well. That can be valuable. With the video, don't forget to store the file in a folder on your computer where you can actually remember where it is, so you can refer back to it weeks to come, months to come, years to come. Very handy bit of footage in that sense. And you know, with any business, word of mouth is always a valuable thing, so if you've got anything to say, good, bad or indifferent, it is always appreciated. And I just wish you the best with the rest of the purchase process. Any questions whatsoever, get back to me and ask me those questions.